is being recorded, and we'll be sending a link to the recording to all attendees in a post-event email. Finally, we also have closed captioning below if you'd like to follow along with the live transcript. You can also change the language of the closed captioning using the drop-down menu in the closed captioning window. And with that, let's begin.
Hello, my name is Lisa Stevens, Vice President, Senior Business Consultant for Chase in Los Angeles, California. I have over 27 years of experience in financial services, 19 of those here at JP Morgan Chase. My goal focuses on empowering small businesses from underserved communities by providing a one-to-one mentorship. Through these relationships, advising small businesses by delivering insights on business development, operations management, navigating cash flow, accessing capital, and developing a team of trusted advisors. The heartbeat of my entire career is spent advocating for community businesses, as I believe are the key drivers to our economy's success. Having the opportunity to pursue the work I love is truly where passion meets career purpose. Let's begin. Today, we will present Navigating Your Cash Flow, increasing cash in and decreasing cash out to help maximize business success. Cash flow is the fuel that keeps your business running smoothly. I have heard many business owners say, cash is king or cash is queen. Yes, this is true, but cash can also be the kryptonite to your business without the proper tools and understanding. Even profitable businesses can fail if they spend at the wrong time, tie too much cash in inventory, or don't collect revenues in a timely way. Success depends on making sure the cash is there when you need it. Where is your cash tied up? Let's take a quick mental survey to gauge how you're feeling before we begin. How confident are you that you have the cash to bridge 1 month closure of your business? Are you very worried? Or do you fall somewhere in the middle? Or are you very confident? Wherever you find yourself at this moment, my hope is to provide you the support you need to sustain. So let's review. This presentation has 4 parts to it. Today, we will cover part 1, cash flow basis, concepts that can help you begin thinking more strategically about cash flow, including cash buffer days and types of inflows and outflows. In part 2, we'll talk about maximizing cash in, strategies to help you get more cash coming in the door. Part 3, minimizing cash out, areas where you might be able to cut costs or reduce the amount of cash going out the door. And then we'll end with part 4 with make cash work for you. So cash flow basis. Let's start by talking about cash buffer days. And why would this be important to the sustainability of your business? What would you do if you suddenly had no cash coming in? Do you have a contingency plan to shelter from the storm? What are some of the storms we can identify? So let's think about it. The pandemic is one for sure, which caused all of us to discover a new normal on how we do business and how we even interact with our personal lives. Unexpected weather changes. I live here in California. We went from drench to drought to drench to drought, and that caused a lot of businesses to really have to shift. Seasonality, long sales cycles, to name a few. A cash buffer gives you that time you need to collect your thoughts, strategize, and then tackle the challenges head on with confidence to know that you can prepare for unexpected expenses. Now, when we think about a cash buffer, what is the cash buffer your business needs? And how do we find this out? Many business owners will take 1 month expenses and maybe times it by 3. And if that's where you find yourself as a cash buffer to secure your business, this is something we have to start focusing on. I always try to share with business owners to try to relate back to when you were a child or maybe coming into your adulthood. We would always say that rainy day fund, right? We always wanted to make sure we had the rainy day fund. Same for your business. And wherever that number may be, if it's a 1 day, a 30 day, or 3 months, I encourage you to start now with whatever little small amount you may have. If you start now, it'll continue to build. Set aside daily, monthly, every invoice you get, a certain percentage of it should be put away for your cash buffer, because the goal is to make sure that we can shelter from the storm. Now, let's talk about some of the cash ways and types of cash inflows and cash outflows so that we can understand a little bit more about our business. And what are these cash flows? There are three types: cash inflows, which is how cash comes in, and outflow, how cash gets spent. So, operating inflow, that's the cash that we collect when you sell a product or you sell a service. Your outflow is money that you spend to keep the lights on, or to market, or even payroll. What about investing? Your investing inflows, this could be renting out part of your space to another business so that you can make sure that you're getting that additional income. So this would be like investing in your business. And the outflow would be money you spend to purchase the building, or maybe new equipment, a new laptop, a new desk. Those are some of your investing out in and outflows. Your financing inflow is maybe you may sell a part of stake of your business to bring in more cash. Maybe you want to bring on a new partner that can help to grow the business, so you sell a part of the business. But your outflows would be that monthly business loan payments that you may have had for the business. These are three types of your cash inflow and your cash outflow. But we have to understand, how do we know what our cash inflows and outflows? Now, there are a few tools that are out there that can help you to understand this. On the next few slides are sample tools available that you can use to track your company's performance, plan for the future, forecasting. There's a lot of great examples. For this slide here, we're looking at the inflows. You want to add your description, set the frequencies, when money's being deposited. These are all of your inflows. Now, this next slide is going to talk about our outflows. And this is something we're talking about, how we're spending our cash. Saying you want to go in, you want to drop down the boxes, put your frequency, what is the amount, so that you can then, as you hit continue, you'll come to this third slide, which provides you the results that you'll generate. Now, there are many tools out there that you can use. After this presentation, visit our virtual booth for more resources on cash flow analysis tools. I encourage you to use this tool so that you too can start to forecast. This is something that will help you to strategically collect revenues or reduce expenses. You want to look at how revenue growth might affect your ability to make long-term investments. So these are tools that are out here for you to utilize, be able to understand, get in front of it, and then that will empower you to make the decisions you need to make to manage your cash flow. So now we're in part 2. Let's talk about maximizing cash in. How can you bring more cash into your business? Well, there are 4 ways that we're going to look at to help identify and make the most of your business opportunities. Let's look at a few ways to strengthen the ability of your business to earn revenue. Know your competition. Who's your competition? This is key. We always want to know who our competition are so that we can make sure that we're staying ahead of the race. So ask yourself, how has your competitive landscape changed in the past year? Have your customers moved to a digital option for shopping? Are they interacting with you, scheduling your services, or making payments all through electronic devices? Well, here's a confession from me. Since the pandemic, my fingers have been trained to swipe, add to cart, and check out. And almost everything I do is swipe, add to cart, and check out. So now, am I your customer? I've made some adjustments in my life. This is something that I've become very comfortable with ordering online. Now, I still go in and I visit retail stores, but I've shifted my way of doing business. Am I your customer? Have you found the right mix of strategies to help you to succeed? What are your competitors up to? Have they gone more into the digital? Have they actually started advertising in a different manner? Know your competition so that you can always stay 1 foot ahead. I want to talk a little bit about segmenting your customers. To segment your customers is a part of growing your business as well. It's important to know your customer's preference. What are your customers' age? their gender, their location, so that you can more strategically build loyalty and expand your base. So let's talk about what type of customers. How do we segment our customers? Now, there are a few types of customers we will discuss in this presentation. The first one, we call this the best customer. So when do these customers shop, right? When they shop, they spend a lot. They may not shop with you every week or every month, but when they come in, it's a big deal. They will spend a lot. But what type of people typically fall into this customer category? Do we know their age? Do we know their gender, their level of wealth? So we know how we're pricing. Do they have kids? Do they have pets? Kids grow up, pets grow. So we want to make sure that you are building a persona on who your customers are. What sale goals can you set for these customers? In what way will you reach these customers? Now, again, this is your best customer. Well, let's move on to your sustaining customer. Now, they don't necessarily spend a lot at one time, but they shop frequently and are loyal. What type of people typically fall into this category? Again, we have to build their persona, their age, their level of wealth. What are their preferences? What sale goals can you set for these customers? And in what way will you reach out to these customers? So now let's move on to the lookalike customer. The lookalike customer is different from the others we've talked about. These are people who should be your customers. Think about people who look like your current customers but shop elsewhere. What type of people typically fall into this customer category? What sale goals can you set for these customers? Again, building that persona, understanding what's going on. How do I get that lookalike customer into my doors? Then the last customer I want to discuss is that aspirational customer. Now, these are people who aren't currently your customers, but you really want their business. So we want to zero in on these customers who will take your business to the next level. What type of people typically fall into this customer category? Again, you're asking yourself these questions. What sale goals can I set for these customers? In what way will I reach out to these customers so that I'm now making them my customer? I'd like for us to do a little mental chat here. What new insights have you discovered recently about your customers? And write these answers down so that you can use this information later. What are some of those new discoveries for you? As we move forward, I want to talk about the value of segmentation. Once you've identified different segments, you can begin to tailor your communications. Look at reward loyalties. I love reward programs. I'm a big fan of seeing that I matter to my businesses as a customer, and they're rewarding me with maybe after I purchase 10 items, I'm getting 10% off. Whatever the rewards may be, it shows an appreciation. Are you identifying a new audience of customers? Remember, I shared to you that I love to now click add to cart and check out. I may be a new customer for you. So what's the value of your segmentation? I also want you to think about considering your prices. This is important too. You want to make sure that you're not underpricing, you're not overpricing, but you're pricing your product properly so that you're able to earn a living, increase your revenues, and still provide a good product to your customers. We want to look at how your prices are affecting your ability to bring cash in. In such a competitive business world, even small difference in prices can mean big difference in sales, big difference in revenue. Make sure that you're considering everything that goes into your products or service. Again, we don't want to underprice, we don't want to overprice, but you want to make sure that you're looking at your products, you're looking at your services, and you're priced right. Have your habits changed? Cost shifts, competitors attempt new strategies. These are the costs that you want to make sure that you are building into your prices. And this is something that you may constantly have to readjust. But again, make sure that you're pricing accordingly. Now, when you determine pricing that's good for you and it's good for your customer, this is when you'll have to determine pricing that's good for you and your customer. What if you decide to increase your prices? There are a few ways you can bring in more revenue and still offer great value to your customers. Let's think about that bundle item or services. You have that buy two, get one free, or the BOGO, buy one, get one, right? That's a great way to bundle. What about discount on volume orders? Free shipping on $49 or more. That's one of my favorites. I love to always meet that mark where I know I'm getting free shipping. This is another cost that not only am I buying more products from you, but I'm also getting a free service, a free shipping. So it's kind of like that give and take. I feel like I'm getting something as well. And what about favorable payment terms or longer commitments? Those are some of the few things that you can look at when you think about pricing if you had to adjust so that I, as your customer, will feel like I'm still getting a value for my dollars. I want to talk about collecting on your sales now. Regardless of what you charge, you still have to make sure that you collect on your sales. Clear, efficient processes for collecting receivables can help you to avoid that cash bottleneck. I think it's very important for you to make sure that your cash is flowing. You want to always have that flow of money coming in so that you can continue to grow your business. So let's talk about how we can improve your receivable processes. Here's a few tips that can help you to improve how your business receive payments. Let's think about the first one, update payment policies. I think it's a great idea to create an invoice as soon as your product or services are delivered. This is a way to make sure that you're invoicing faster and it's not sitting, it's not growing stale on your desk, and it's 10, 15 days later, you go back and you think, oh, I should have invoiced. But if you do it immediately when your products or services are delivered, that's something, a very quick way to make sure that you're improving your process. Monitor and follow up on account receivables, and even more so, follow up quicker on those overdue payments. You shouldn't have aging account receivables. This is something you want to make sure that you're able to receive properly. Monitor your bank accounts to make sure money is deposited in a timely manner. This is time to money. You want to make sure it's there when it should be there. And then focus on process efficiency. Evaluate and adjust your process. Another mental chat. Do you have a creative approach to generating revenue that you'd like to share with other business owners, possibly there with you or in your community, or even amongst yourself? What are some of the creative approaches to generating revenues that you can start to really lean in on? I want to share a story with you. We have a few in this presentation. I truly believe these stories can help us to just kind of see, am I that person that we're about to read about? Okay, so let's take a look at this scenario regarding receivables. Martin Blount, the owner of Luminary Display, who won a big contract to install screens for a large entertainment company that was pivoting to outdoor events. This meant steady work at above average rates. So this is great. He can employ more people to work in his company, and he can make sure he's driving revenue. Once the work began, Blount submitted his first invoice. A month went by, but he still hadn't been paid. He called his client and found out that because he hadn't submitted his invoice through the vendor management system, it never made it to the account receivables department. His team quickly submitted the invoice through the system, but a few weeks later, he still hadn't been paid. His company was running out of cash. Blount was afraid he wouldn't be able to make the next payroll. And we all want to make sure that we can pay our employees. They rely on us and we rely on them. When he called his client again, he found out that his operations team did not complete all the required fields in the vendor management system and had not monitored the system to see that alerts had been piling up. Blount filled out the missing fields that same day and received payments just in time for his next payroll. He then scheduled a training session for his team so that all invoices would be submitted properly going forward. Once regular payments began coming in, his cash flow pressure eased. Now, I love this fictional example of Luminary Display because he just barely avoided a catastrophe. I love that he stopped and he reflected and he corrected with his team. Here's what we did wrong. Here's what we need to do going forward. And to me, that add value when you can stop, coach your team, and you can move forward to a better way of invoicing. So I love this story. And again, you may not find yourself here as Luminary Displays did. Hopefully, this is a pitfall you'll never have to fall into. And if you are there, look for ways, take that pause. How do I adjust to make sure that I can continue to make payroll and drive revenue? So let's talk about minimizing cash out. You also need to pay close attention to how your cash is being spent. So we talked about cash in, now we'll talk about cash out. Knowing where and when cash goes out help you to right-side your spending. Vendor relationships. Now, you may be able to negotiate favorable terms. Has your business changed? Does your business look the same today as it did a year ago, a week ago, or even a month ago? Continue to look and see how your business has changed. Has your cash position changed? Has your vendor changed? Could other options meet your needs? I'd love to share with you another story in regards to renegotiating with your vendors. Mia Lapongo makes an incredible lamb stew. Her little shop, which she named Grandma's Place after the woman who taught her how to cook, fills hundreds of takeout orders per day. Grandma's Place has always had a cash flow trouble, even though Lapongo's rent is relatively low and she doesn't have many employees. She decided to dig into her expenses and found that her most frequent vendors and her biggest cash payments were for food ingredients and paper products. She decided to focus on paper products first. Now, I love this about her decision here. Although she found two areas of improvement, she focused on the one that she thought would make the biggest impact. Before reaching out to her vendors, Lapongo researched the paper product vendors in her area and ranked each one based on the features she values most. I love this about her. She not only cares about the product she's putting out there, but she also cares about the customers receiving and experiencing her products. She wanted to make sure it's what she valued most and not who was the cheapest. That's very important. She also looked at her ordering process and found that she ordered products irregularly, usually when her shop was running dangerously low. Next, she contacted her vendors to ask about lower cost products and proposed making a regular monthly order in exchange for a better unit price. Wow. Not only did she identify the problem, but she also had a solution. Vendors love when you can call with a solution. And this is what she did. She didn't call, she didn't complain. She called with a solution and she made sure she valued her products and her customers first. Her top vendor agreed. She now spends less and her expenses are more predictable. Most importantly, she improved her shop's cash flow without sacrificing critical vendor relationships. I love that story. If you find yourself in Grandma's Place, always start with what do you value? You want to make sure you consider not only your pricing, but your customers. How will they experience? And then have a solution. So I thought that was a great story. So now let's move forward. I want to talk a little bit about having a high performing team. Did you know payroll alone can account for 70% of total business spending? Now, as you analyze that percentage, I want you to ask yourself, do you have a high performing team? Which staff members are needed for essential tasks? What tasks can be automated or cut back or outsourced? Not only will automated tasks free up time for you, but it'll also help you to minimize your payroll on expenses that you can actually outsource that will give you back time to grow the business. So this is something we should take a look and see, what can I automate? What can you delegate? Now, this is a tricky one. As an entrepreneur, it's hard for us to delegate, but you have to come to that term where you have a high performing team. You can delegate and trust that releasing the wheel and they will drive to the destination that drives the business revenue. You also want to find out, are there any gaps that can be filled by a contractor or maybe an intern? And I love that word intern because not only are you employing someone to help the business to grow, but you're helping dreamers. You're helping them to be able to come into your industry and just have that opportunity as an intern to understand what the industry does, to find that perfect fit for them so that you too will be a part of their growth. Then you want to find out, is this a seasonal staffing an option? And seasonal staffing is okay as long as you share with the employee that this is seasonal, is what they expect. When you think about holidays and you go to all these different stores and they have, we're hiring, and the employees understand that this is seasonal. So seasonal staffing is an option and it's something that you should explore if that's something your business experience seasonality. So as we move forward, I want to talk a little bit about real estate. I know real estate can be expensive. And many businesses are discovering that they don't actually need all the space that they're occupying. That's something to maybe ask yourself. Do you still need the space you're currently renting or owning? Have you outgrown the space? Have your foot traffic changed? What are the changes that are impacting the real estate that you're currently occupying? Are you at renewal? Can you renegotiate your lease? Have you been a great tenant? Landlords love to have tenants that are stable. Maybe that's area for renegotiating. Or maybe there's some tenant improvement. Take a look before you sign and see what are some of the options that I can renegotiate my lease with. And then here's that major question. Should you rent or should you buy? You want to weigh those pros and cons on how much your mortgage payment would be compared to your rent. Because as a landlord, maybe there's some opportunity to share that space as we talked about earlier, and you will have the ability to have a rental income as well as operate your business in the same space. I want to talk a little bit about spending on inventory. Now, inventory ties up cash, as we all know. So it's important to always have just the right amount. How long would it take for your business to transform inventory into revenue? That's a very good question. And for every item you order, that should be that question. How long does it take for you to transform into revenue? Would having an inventory management software possibly help you to right size your inventory, seeing how fast inventory is going out? How much do I need to order in? You want to avoid having an abundance of inventory that starts to grow with what we call white tops, known as dust. If you go into and you see your inventory and you see all that white tops on it, that means it's been sitting too long. And you want to keep your inventory moving. It's important to always think about that. So let's look at this story. I love this story about the baby boutique. Again, these are fictional examples, but we hope that if you find yourself in these scenarios, that you can think back of these stories and find your way out. So let's talk about Claudia Boulevard. She owns a baby boutique, a shop in a growing neighborhood full of young families. We like that. That shows that she will have many customers with a young family. She never liked to see anyone walk away disappointed. So she tries to stock everything she can, even obscure items from halfway around the world. One day she noticed that her back room was getting very crowded. Sounds like she has a lot of white tops growing there. Had she brought too much inventory? Boulevard decided to analyze her inventory to understand how long it took for products to sell. She quickly discovered that many products set for months and some as long as 2 years. As she dug deeper, she found that if an item sold within 6 months, she could realize a net margin of about 50%. But that number went down significantly at the each additional 6 months. So it sounds like to me the items that she's had for 2 years, she's actually paying for those items to sit on her shelves. So Boulevard decided to set limits on the number of items she would carry and focus on her bestsellers. What's your bestseller? I see your bestseller as something that's quickly moved, most people are requesting, and I also call that your hero product. What products do you have inside your business that are selling quickly. This is your hero product. This is your baby. This is who you want to focus on. And this is what she did. She also found wholesale vendors that would place special orders for her, giving her the opportunity to fill requests for less popular items. As a result, Bovar reduced her cash spending and improved her profitability. It's all about the improvement. So find your hero product, find your bestseller, and focus. Focus on how can I allow this product to grow substantially so that I can bring those other small products into play as well. Let's talk a little bit about marketing. As we all know, marketing is a little bit of art and a little bit of science. But if you're not focused on specific goals, your marketing can cost a lot without showing much return. And remember, it's all about the return on your investment. We hear that term ROI. That's your return on your investment. So focus your marketing spend on the initiatives that are most likely to deliver. To more precisely target your marketing spend, you may to experiment with different stages and marketing channel to find the most efficient and effective approach. So we understand marketing is that art, it's that science. It's a little bit of art, a little bit of science. Play around, measure what works, experiment on different options, and make sure that you are focusing on the return on your investment. It's not something you want to start getting comfortable and just marketing the way you know how to market if it's not returning on your investment. So this is something that's key. If your customers have turned to digital, you don't want to send paper mailers, you want to move to digital. Find out what's working for you in the market scale to make sure that you're keeping your customers. So again, we have a story, and I love these stories because again, I really believe if you're there, it's going to give you a way out. And if you're not there, it'll avoid you from going into some of the pitfalls that many of these scenarios have either found themselves in. But the good news is that they've also found their way out. So let's talk about Marsha James. Marsha James created a perfect desk. It's durable, adjusts for standing or sitting, and easily stores all kinds of office supplies. His company, Work Time Furniture, has been shipping an unassembled desk in a plain box for years. But James recently realized that the customer experience is not over when the box is delivered, and a plain boring box is not a great experience. So while his designers worked on new boxes that reduced waste and looked amazing, James analyzed his current supply of packaging. He estimated that he had 4 months of packaging left. So he couldn't wait on placing his first order. In the meantime, he worked on a campaign that he called Open Time that would encourage customers to create unboxing videos featuring the new packaging. Now, I love this. He knew he had 4 months of packaging left. You want to make sure that you're not wasteful. You had to use this product, but what do I do in the meantime? So Open Time was his way of pivoting. The videos began generating a buzz on social media, and we know the power of social media today, helping his new packaging drive excitement and awareness of his product. I myself, as I order items or I'm looking at assembling, I love videos. I love the unboxing. And I love when business owners are looking at creative ways. Is this something you can start thinking about a creative way? For this business owner, for James to start thinking outside the box, pun somewhat intended, yes, it helped him to not only drive additional social media, buzz on his social media, but it also just kind of helped his customers to see the value in the items he was selling, and they felt like they were part of the unboxing experience for the company. So that's a great story, thinking outside the box and just doing a little bit more and yet not being wasteful, still utilizing the inventory you have, but pivoting to something that's fun and exciting. So now as we come to our last and final part of Make Cash Work for You, it is my hope that you've learned a lot today. and that you've taken great notes and able to put into practice tools that are good for your business. Analyze your cash flow, and making adjustments is a critical first step towards strengthening the fundamentals of your business. Recognizing how money moves through your business has never been more important. As we conclude, let's take a quick mental survey to see if your feelings have changed since participating in this session. Do you feel more confident about your ability to manage cash flow? Are you still a 1 or a 2? No and not sure? And if you are, that's okay. There's tools, there's resources that are available for you to help drive you to your 3s and your 4s. And if today you're a 3 or a 4, I say continue to grow, continue to just know what you need to know to be successful. But I also encourage you to lean in on those 1 and 2s and help them to become a 3 or 4. Help to guide that path to successfully being an entrepreneur. We are in this together, and there's enough space for us all. And I believe if we all lean in and help one another, we will continue to grow the economy, grow one another, and just have fun while we're doing it. So for our last mental chat, what's one cash flow strategy you will start within the next week? Write it down, commit to it, find your way. What strategies will you start within the next week? To learn more and sharpen your tools, I encourage you to visit our virtual booth. Find the tools, the resources that are available for you. I call this that low-hanging fruit. I encourage you to fill your basket with all the tools and resources that you need to make sure that you continue to grow, that you continue to strive, you can pour back into your communities and help other business owners like yourself. I thank you for joining me today. And it is my name again. My name is Lisa Stevens. It has been my joy. I look forward to your entrepreneurship journey and being a part of your growth. Thank you.